Under Seattle's rain, a delivery girl spilled ramen on a millionaire CEO's laptop, and from that moment, he fell madly in love, crossing every boundary for true love. One bowl of noodles changed everything. Welcome, dear family, to Soul and Love Stories. How are you today? I hope your heart feels warm, your eyes shine with love. You're not alone. I'm here with you, sharing the most beautiful tales. Let's offer a small prayer. God of love, touch every heart listening now, ignite their passion, and guide them to love beyond all limits, as ramen once did. May joy transform clumsiness into forever. Amen. Soul and Love Stories family, are you ready to laugh in love with Hailey and Ethan? We're aiming for 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 hearts beating together. Hit subscribe to spread love with me. Now let's dive into this story. Seattle rain poured down as if to drown the city, heavy drops battering Hailey Brooks' tattered hoodie. She pedaled through bustling streets, her wet delivery bag slung over her shoulder, breath puffing into clouds in the biting cold. At 25, Hailey juggled 3 jobs: food delivery, cleaning, and selling pastries, all to fuel her dream of becoming a comic artist. By night, in the cramped apartment she shared with her grandma, she sketched goofy yet lovable characters, eyes sparkling, despite a wallet holding just a few coins. Today, her final order was a big bowl of ramen, destined for a gleaming tech tower downtown. Blocks away, Ethan Blake, 32, CEO of a million-dollar tech startup, sat in the building's internal cafe. Dressed in a crisp white shirt, hair slicked back, his dark-circled eyes betrayed sleepless nights and stress. His laptop glowed, primed for a Zoom meeting with Japanese investors, a deal that could reshape his company's fate. Ethan hadn't smiled since a heartbreak 3 years ago. His life was an endless loop of black coffee and data, no room for joy. Hailey burst into the lobby, soaked like a drowned rat, her old sneakers slipping on the marble floor. The elevator was out, perfect timing, forcing her up 15 flights of stairs. The steaming ramen jostled in its thermal box, and she panted as she reached the cafe. But the wet floor, slick shoes, and cruel fate tripped her right before Ethan's table. The bowl launched upward, lid popping off, and in a flash, scalding broth and golden noodles splashed onto his laptop. Mid-join, meeting, click. A zet crackled from the speakers. The screen flickered, then went black. Ethan looked up, stunned, as broth dripped from the table onto his pants, stray noodles dangling from the monitor. Hailey, sprawled on the floor, face flaming, scrambled for napkins from her delivery bag, wiping frantically at the table, the laptop nearly brushing his hand. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I'll pay in installments, I swear. I've got ramen coupons. Want them?" She stammered, eyes wide with shame and panic, hands trembling as she offered soggy napkins. Ethan stared at her. A petite girl with wet hair plastered to her forehead, hoodie streaked with rain, the faint scent of ramen wafting from the mess. He should have been furious. A $1 million meeting just crashed because of cheap noodles. But then his lips twitched. A soft chuckle escaped, swelling into a booming laugh that echoed through the quiet cafe. For the first time in 3 years, he laughed, not from joy, but from the sheer absurdity of it all. Yet as he watched Hailey, those bewildered round eyes, flushed cheeks, his heart skipped a beat, a strange, nameless feeling stirring within him. Hailey looked up, baffled. "You're not mad?" Ethan shook his head, picking a noodle off the table, holding it like a trophy. "How could I be? You wrecked my laptop and made me laugh. You owe me a new bowl, though." He winked, his eyes unusually bright. Hailey blushed, standing up, muttering, "I'll make it up. Here's my number. Call if you want to collect." She shoved a scrap of paper with her digits into his hand, then bolted, leaving Ethan with a lingering smile and an odd warmth. He glanced at the paper, whispering, "This noodle girl, there's something special about her." The Seattle rain hadn't let up, but Hailey Brooks felt a wave of relief after delivering her last order of the day. She pedaled to a small cafe near home, her usual pit stop between shifts. Her delivery bag swapped for a stack of napkins and a pencil. Her weapons for sketching comics in spare moments. Today, her mind was still tangled from spilling noodles on that stranger's laptop. He's probably going to sue me, she muttered, doodling a superhero with a bowl of ramen on his head. She giggled, naming him Ramen Man. A few blocks away, Ethan Blake sat in his company office, staring at a brand new laptop replacing the one bathed in noodles. The Zoom meeting was canceled, and he'd spent the morning explaining to his assistant and investors over the phone. He should have been furious, but every time he recalled that clumsy girl with wide eyes apologizing frantically, a soft chuckle escaped, an oddity for him. That morning he decided to grab caffeine at a nearby cafe, unconsciously clutching the scrap of paper with her number. That delivery girl, there's something about her, he mused, unsure why he was so curious. Ethan stepped into the cafe, his waterproof tech jacket glistening with raindrops. He ordered a black coffee, no sugar, then froze when he spotted Hailey in the corner, head bent over napkins covered in sketches. She wore an old hoodie, hair tied lopsided, oblivious to the world. He approached, peeking over her shoulder, and burst out laughing at Ramen Man, a muscled figure with a noodle bowl hat, absurdly resembling him. "You turned me into a ramen hero?" he asked, his tone teasing. Hailey jumped, dropping her pencil, face flushing. "You! What are you doing here?" She tried to hide the sketch, but Ethan pulled up a chair, resting his chin on his hand. "Making sure no one else spills noodles on my electronics," he quipped, eyes twinkling. Hailey faltered, then giggled. "I didn't mean to, honest. You're lucky I'm not sued yet." Ethan shrugged. "No lawsuits here, but you owe me a story. What's with Ramen Man?" She hesitated, then slid the sketch over. "I drew it to apologize. You look like a guy whose day got ruined by noodles." Ethan laughed heartily, studying it closely. "I love this. You're really good." Hailey blushed, mumbling, "Just messing around." But as she poured water from a pitcher on the table, her hand shook, splashing it all over Ethan's jacket. "Oh no, not again!" she yelped, grabbing napkins to dab at it, only smearing it worse. Ethan laughed, catching her hand to stop her. "Are you trying to ruin all my stuff to keep me here?" In that moment, his hand touched hers, warm and unexpected. Hailey looked up, meeting Ethan's gaze. No longer cold, but glowing with something strange. He let go, but his heart raced faster than he'd admit. "What's your name?" he asked, voice softening. "Hailey," she replied shyly. "I'm Ethan, your ramen man." They laughed together, the air lighter than ever. As Ethan left, the scent of ramen lingered in his mind. No, it was Hailey's smile. That night he lay in bed thinking of her, wondering why a delivery girl stirred him so deeply. Hailey, meanwhile, added a new page to her sketch, herself as Noodle Girl beside Ramen Man, unaware of who Ethan really was. The Seattle rain had eased, but Hailey Brooks' heart remained a tangled mess after meeting Ethan at the cafe. She couldn't shake his smile. Warm, so unlike the cold guy whose laptop she'd ruined. Today, while delivering ramen near the tech district, an unknown number texted her. "Ramen Man here. Free tonight. I need a creative partner for an event." Hailey frowned, heart pounding, but replied, "Only if you promise not to spill noodles on me." Ethan shot back instantly. "Promise. 7 p.m. I'll pick you up." At exactly 7, Ethan pulled up outside Hailey's rundown apartment in a sleek Tesla. Dressed in a black suit, hair neatly slicked, he looked like he'd stepped out of Forbes. Hailey emerged, awkward in an old green dress borrowed from her grandma, her sneakers scuffed from lack of heels. "Do I look okay?" she asked, nervous. Ethan smiled, eyes lighting up. "You look different. I like it." On the drive to a tech event downtown, he explained the launch of a new AI product. But Hailey barely listened, fidgeting with her wrinkled dress. The venue dazzled with bright lights, tables packed with elegant guests in suits and gowns. Hailey felt out of place amid the tech jungle, clutching a glass of champagne she mistook for water. When a waiter brought a tray of appetizers, she spotted a tiny dish of instant noodles, an odd starter, and exclaimed, "Oh, ramen!" Without thinking, she grabbed it, shoveling a big bite, prompting chuckles from nearby guests. Ethan, beside her, laughed loudly. "You make me think of ramen every day." Hailey blushed. But he pulled her closer, whispering, "Don't worry, they're just jealous you're cuter than the AI." The night rolled on with cringeworthy moments. Hailey mistook the microphone for a remote, accidentally blasting disco music during Ethan's presentation. The room erupted in laughter. Ethan just shook his head, eyes sparkling. "You're the best assistant I've ever had." Later, she dubbed a scurrying AI robot tech puppy, making an investor snort and Ethan double over. He'd never had this much fun at an event. Hailey made him forget stress, his icy tech world melting away. But the joy shattered when a company staffer whispered to her, "You know he's Ethan Blake, CEO of Blake Tech, right? A millionaire." Hailey froze, watching Ethan chat with the crowd, his aura now an invisible wall. She stepped back, gripping her glass. Champagne, not water, still untouched. When Ethan turned to find her, she'd slipped outside, standing in Seattle's rain, heart heavy. "He's a millionaire. I'm just a ramen delivery girl," she muttered, wet sneakers squelching on the sidewalk. Ethan raced after her, shouting, "Hailey, why'd you leave?" She turned, eyes red. "You're a CEO, Ethan. I don't belong in your world. I deliver food, spill noodles on laptops. I'm not enough." He stepped forward, suit drenched, voice firm. "You think I care about that? You make me laugh, make me feel alive. That's what I need." Hailey shook her head, tears mingling with rain. "You're just playing with a poor girl. I don't want to be your joke." She turned away, leaving Ethan standing there, his heart aching. He'd fallen madly in love with her, from that ramen-soaked day, through every smile she brought. But now the class divide loomed like a wall he didn't know how to breach. Hailey trudged home, slumping beside her grandma, muttering, "He needs a tech princess, not me." Her grandma sipped tea, eyeing her. "Don't let a bowl of noodles make you doubt yourself, Hailey. Love doesn't care about ramen or Rolex." After that night at the tech event, Hailey Brooks stopped replying to Ethan Blake's texts. Her phone stayed silent, showing only his clumsy messages. "You okay?" "I'm not kidding, Hailey." But each time she saw Ethan, she pictured him in his sleek suit, charming the elite crowd, a world she didn't fit into. She threw herself into delivery work, biking through Seattle's rain, trying to erase his smile. But her heart felt as heavy as the soggy ramen bag on her shoulder. Ethan, in his Blake Tech office, couldn't focus. He stared at his new laptop screen, recalling the old one ruined by ramen, and the girl who'd unwittingly upended his heart. 3 years without a spark, yet now he lay awake, haunted by Hailey every night. "Does she think I'm a joke?" he muttered, gripping his coffee mug tightly. He resolved to act. He couldn't lose her like his last heartbreak. Finding the address of the diner where she moonlighted, Ethan jumped in his car and sped through the Seattle rain. Under the diner's awning, Hailey finished her last noodle delivery, hoodie drenched, eyes red from exhaustion and doubt. Ethan appeared, clutching a cheap, dry ramen pack, the kind she'd spilled on his laptop, standing in the rain, water dripping from his hair to his face. "Hailey!" he called, voice hoarse. She turned, stunned. "What are you doing here? It's pouring!" Ethan stepped forward, holding the ramen like a declaration. "I've loved you since the day you trashed my laptop. I don't care if you deliver food or draw. I just need you." Hailey shook her head, tears spilling, blending with the rain. "You don't get it, Ethan. You're a CEO, a millionaire. What am I? A broke ramen girl? I'm scared. Scared you'll tire of me, like everything cheap in my life." Her voice broke, hands clutching her delivery bag. Ethan moved closer, suit soaked, eyes red with emotion. "Tire of you? Hailey, you make me laugh, make me feel alive. I don't need someone who fits my world. I need someone who makes me forget it. That's you." She turned away, heart in chaos. "What if you're wrong? What if I'm just a noodle you like right now?" Ethan grabbed her shoulders, voice steady. "I'm crazy about you, Hailey." "I knew it from that ramen." She trembled, wanting to believe, but self-doubt clung tight. Her grandma, watching from the diner through the glass, stepped out with an umbrella. "Fool," she said, pressing it into Hailey's hand. "Don't let a bowl of noodles rob you of real love. I was poor once, but I never regretted loving your grandpa." Hailey glanced at her grandma, then at Ethan. Soaked, clutching the ramen, eyes earnest. She burst into tears, this time from hope. Ethan smiled, pulling her into his arms as rain fell around them. "No more ramen debts," he whispered. "Just stay." Hailey nodded, heart racing. Maybe this love wasn't a joke after all. After that rainy night, Hailey Brooks couldn't stop thinking about Ethan Blake. The drenched CEO clutching a dry ramen pack, his earnest eyes melting her insecurities. She took a day off delivery, sitting in her tiny apartment with her grandma, pencil in hand, but unable to draw. "You were right," she muttered. "Love doesn't care about ramen or Rolex." Her grandma chuckled, sipping tea. "Go find your noodle guy before he changes his mind." Hailey blushed, deciding to visit an indie art exhibit in Seattle, a place she'd once dreamed of showcasing her work. The exhibit buzzed with warm lights and drawings lining the walls. Hailey stepped in, still in her old hoodie, unaware Ethan had secretly set up a corner for her. Before her stood a small comic book printed from her napkin sketches, Noodle Love Saga, featuring Ramen Man, Ethan, and Noodle Girl, Hailey, adventuring through fateful noodle mishaps. The cover scrawled, "From spilled noodles to a love worth drawing." Hailey froze, hands trembling as she flipped through, realizing Ethan had turned their silly blunder into a beautiful tale. Ethan emerged from the crowd in a casual shirt instead of a suit, holding a noodle bowl, not real but a handcrafted ceramic piece etched with, "Spilled noodles, spilled my heart." He approached, smiling. "I've been crazy about you since that day, Hailey. Be my girlfriend. No more ramen debts." Hailey laughed, tears glinting. "You're serious with this bowl?" Ethan shrugged, eyes blazing. "Dead serious. You're the CEO of my heart." She hugged him tight, the crowd's applause ringing, but all they heard was each other's heartbeats. 2 months later, Hailey and Ethan co-created Noodle Hearts, a comic project inspired by their fateful meeting. Hailey cut back on delivery shifts, sketching beside Ethan at Blake Tech. He was no longer the icy CEO. He smiled more, even brewing her coffee each morning. Though she teased, "You're worse at this than ramen." They bickered playfully over the story. Hailey wanted Ramen Man goofier. Ethan insisted he be cool like a CEO. They settled on a clumsy yet lovable hero, mirroring them both. The final scene unfolded on Ethan's rooftop under Seattle's starry sky. They sat together, a steaming bowl of Hailey's favorite ramen before them. She scooped a bite, blowing on it, then fed Ethan. He winced. "Too hot!" but grinned wide. "You know," he said, pulling her close, "I never thought a bowl of noodles would change my life." Hailey rested her head on his shoulder, whispering, "I didn't think I deserved you, but I'm glad I was wrong." He kissed her forehead, starlight glinting off the steaming ramen. A gentle Seattle breeze carried the ramen's aroma in their laughter. Right there, Hailey sketched a final page for Noodle Hearts. Two characters embracing beside a noodle bowl, captioned, "Love doesn't need a blueprint, just a little spill." No rich or poor, no CEO or delivery girl, just Hailey and Ethan, a simple, wild love, sweet to the end. From a bowl of noodles spilled in the Seattle's rain, Hailey and Ethan found each other, a fierce love crossing all boundaries, as sweet as Noodle Hearts under a starry sky. A clumsy mishap turned into forever. Dear Soul and Love Stories family, thank you for laughing and loving through this tale with me. What did you think? I hope your heart's warm, your eyes sparkling with joy. We're building a home for love, and I need you to hit 1,000 subscribers. 1,000 hearts beating as one. Hit subscribe now to keep these beautiful journeys alive. One click from you spreads love further. Adored Hailey and Ethan's fateful noodle moment? Drop a comment. What melted your heart? Hit like and share with someone dear, letting Noodle Hearts touch everywhere. See you in the next story, where love always blooms.